Welcome to It's Upgrade Season, the only place to get raw and unfiltered advice on how to get your shit together 1 week at a time. I'm your host, Alexandria, and join me every Monday for The Upgrade and every Friday for The Wind Down, where I'm going to be answering your dilemmas. Small shifts, huge upgrades. Let's fucking do this. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. And we have the most incredible guest for you today. Tori Gaynor is a self-made multiple six-figure business owner, mentor, mama, and manifestation expert. I first met Tori when I actually wanted some mentoring around the new direction I was going in and how to translate that to Instagram, because her Instagram growth, you guys, has been exponential. It's been incredible. And so I went in with this intention, but what I ended up with was something so much better. We have the deepest chats all about shifting identity, about motherhood, about manifestation, postpartum, friendships, and finding your style. Like, we go here, there, and everywhere. And I really wanted Tori to come on the podcast so you could feel like you were sitting in on one of these conversations with us, because every time, and our calls, like, we always have like these long calls, every time I get off that call, I just feel so nourished and fulfilled and lit up and inspired. And I wanted you guys to experience that too. So in today's episode, you're going to get a real first front row seat into one of those conversations. And I really want to join in that conversation with you as well. So make sure to share a little screenshot if you're listening to today's episode. Let us know what your biggest breakthroughs, funniest moment, or aha was. Tag us both in, because I want to get in the DMs. I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you loved about today's episode. And let's talk it through, babes. So without further ado, here is Tori. Hi, babes. Welcome.
Hi.
I am so excited about this because, like, I feel like we've had, like, the realest chats about motherhood, work, career, everything. And when I was coming to the UK, I was like, please come on the podcast, because I feel like other people need to be part of this conversation. So thank you for being here, and I'm so excited for this.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here with you.
I also feel slightly selfishly, I get so much for these conversations. So I'm like, I can't wait for all the juice. So I think the first thing that I want to ask you about is the identity shift that occurs during this whole process of motherhood, because I feel like this is something you've been so open and honest about, just on every level, like career, body, everything. What was that like for you? Because, like, right now I feel like you have your shit together.
Oh my God, I don't.
Okay, well, what was it like going through that process? And, like, where are you at now?
Yeah, no, on a serious note, I do feel like I'm in a really good place with my identity. Am I there? No. Are we ever there? No. Life's a continuous journey of evolution. But I feel like I'm in a really good place with my own confidence and conviction as a mother, but also just as a human. Whereas I went through such a massive ego death postpartum, which I wouldn't have put that language to it at the time. I felt like everything was falling apart. My identity, my lifestyle, pre-baby, I was doing the morning routines. I was going straight to the gym. I was then making myself a smoothie bowl with chia seeds and all this stuff. And then you have this baby and you love them so much. And with that also then came so much anxiety that I could easily, like, the anxiety I had before having a baby, you can easily push it to the side a little bit. But I think when you have a baby and you're in the depths of motherhood and postpartum, I think so much comes to the surface that you didn't realize was there. And so, yeah, I had a big mix of emotions during that time of, like, overwhelm, anxiety, trying to keep my daughter alive and trying to do the right thing all the time. And I think I found motherhood in the first, I would say, like, 6 months so hard because I was trying to mother and be a mother as a maiden woman, like as that version of myself before, trying to get back to the old routines, trying to get back to my old gym workouts, trying to have this unrealistic expectation on myself. And with that came a big ego death when I actually just stopped fighting for my old life. And I remember actually seeing someone say that online. She said something like, stop fighting for the old you. And when I heard that, I was like, that is exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to fight for the old version of me instead of allowing myself to evolve into the next version of me. And I think when you are on a journey of evolving into like a new stage of yourself, even if it's not through motherhood, it could be through other stages of your life. I think there's a part of us that has to almost mourn the death of the person we were before and be okay with like, I'm not her right now. And it doesn't mean I won't have the blonde hair again, have the long extensions, have all the time in the world to go to all these gym classes or whatever, but it's just not right now. Yeah. And I think that process of evolution and stepping into your new identity and embodying that conviction and confidence finally comes through when you're okay with letting the old version of yourself go.
Yeah, I love this. And I think it's really important what you said there as well around, okay, this can be through the vehicle of motherhood, but this can happen in so many other ways as well. Because I know in my own life, when I look back, yes, this has been one of the times it's happened, but actually this has happened to me before. I had it when I left corporate. I had it like at other stages in my life where there's just been this point of realization of like, everything needs to change and is changing, and I can be here fighting against it, which we want to do. We want to grip on, we want to hold on, or I can let go, and actually it's in the letting go that everything becomes easier. You mentioned there about like struggling with anxiety and things like that. What did that look like for you? Was it the kind of, oh my God, I'm going to drop my baby down the stairs? Or was it just the, what the fuck am I doing in my life? Like, where was that popping up?
Yeah, it was a lot of intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
And then feeling, and not really knowing how to differentiate, like, it's okay, I don't have to agree with that thought or listen to that thought or believe that thought, which now I feel very much like, even being pregnant again, of course, there's like anxieties that come up, but then I'm more equipped to be like, I don't have to believe that thought. So it was, and I think there was a lot of needing to prove that I could be a good mum. And because I was like the first out of my main close friends to have a baby. So yeah, I just think I had a lot to prove. And I think like, even when I'm saying the ego death, I feel like the stage I was in my life before motherhood, I felt like I was like obviously the journey was up and down, but I felt like I was going up. Like, you know, when you're growing your business, you're in your prime of things are going well, you're making sales, you're signing clients, you're working with amazing people, like things are good. And especially from the outside, they look amazing. And then you go from like being like further along the journey in that journey, for example, my entrepreneurship journey, to then like boom, being back at square one with a new journey. Like you don't just go from like level 4 to level 4 in motherhood. No, you go straight back to level 0 and you got to work your way up. So yeah, I would say the anxiety came from just like, I just want to be a good mom. I want to do things right. The breastfeeding, like I really, really want to breastfeed. And that was really hard. And I remember my mum saying to me, like, you don't have to breast, like, it's okay. It doesn't make you a bad mom. She didn't get on the best with breastfeeding. She was so much happier when she stopped. And I was so torn between what the midwives were saying, what the science was saying, what society's saying, what just everything. That it's like, I think you overthink everything when really you just got to do what's best for you in each moment.
I think Instagram actually has a lot. I know, well, speaking for myself personally, Instagram has a lot to answer for with that as well, because like, I feel like it's amazing that we have access to this resource which shows us other ways of mothering and, you know, tells us about things that we maybe didn't know about previously, about unknown dangers to our child. And it can be so toxic in that sense as well. I know that I felt a lot of pressure on that good mother thing in terms of I'd see a reel and this reel said if I fed my baby formula or did this or did that. And I actually remember, I don't know if I told you this, I had an argument with someone on Instagram.
No.
Right, this is so out of character for me. Like I'm just not that person. But it was a man who had posted a reel. He was like a biohacker, and he'd posted this reel talking about like the problems with baby formula. And I lost my mind because like he didn't give any solutions, and also he didn't bear in mind any of the other elements around it. And I do think I think it's amazing that we are making it accessible for mums to breastfeed again, and, you know, making it okay to breastfeed in public and
Yeah.
things like this.
Yeah.
And I think there's also a side where I had this conversation with Becky, who was on the podcast the other day. Breastfeeding's fucking hard. It's
Yeah.
really fucking hard on
Yeah.
mum. It doesn't agree with everyone. Not everyone has milk supply.
Yeah.
And like, you just have to do what's best for you and your baby. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's so dangerous. I think it's almost flipped the other way, where we think, and not just around breastfeeding, around like, I felt guilty, for example, I didn't co-sleep, like things like this.
Yeah.
It becomes like too extreme and
Yeah.
too much pressure on the mum.
Yeah, I do think there's a lot of like extreme one side or the other content on the internet. Like, you get the people who are like, even the content that's like all about just like being about your kids and nothing else. And then you get people who are like, no, all about career. And then there's like you said, the breastfeeding, you have to, breast is best. And then you get so many different spectrums of type of content that I think you do need to be so careful with what you expose yourself to. Even like what you said about the dangers and stuff like that. I see reels, and whilst they're really informative of like, I don't know, someone's kid going missing at the park and how it made them feel, or their heart dropped, like, and it's those, do you know what I'm talking about? Or there was one that I saw last night and I was just like, God, this is it kind of can make you feel like you can see the worst in every situation.
Yes.
When sometimes these are just one-off freak accidents. Whilst, like you say, it's so important to be aware, you can drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
And I think when you're in such a vulnerable time like postpartum, I think boundaries with social media, like, that's been one of the biggest things I've done this year, of like just being really careful what I consume and being really discerning of like what I believe, what I take in, the type of content I'm choosing to normalize in my life, because I think that's a huge one in motherhood.
Yeah.
That, you know, a lot of people follow very relatable accounts.
Yeah.
But what are you choosing to normalize in that? Are you choosing to normalize how hard it is and the struggle, and that your life's over, and that et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah.
And like I said, there's also the polar opposite of like the love and light, everything's perfect. So it's like really trying to discern and choose, like, what am I going to normalize for myself in my life and motherhood?
I adore following you for this, because I feel like, I know you describe it as like empowered motherhood, don't you?
Yeah.
I really feel that sense from your content, where it is really empowering. So you talked about, there was the patch where you feeling this anxiety, feeling like, I need to be a good mum, whatever the definition of a fucking good mum is, because I feel like so
even just worrying about being a good mum makes you a good mum. That's what I say to people. Like,
so true.
Yeah.
But, you know, you've gone through that. How did you get to where you are now, where you are in this place of empowered motherhood? You are feeling more, you know, I was going to say safe and secure, but you're feeling more like knowing who you are.
I guess through the journey of exploring, who do I want to be as a mum? And how do I want my kids to remember me? Like, that was a big question I asked myself. It was also a question I asked myself when I went through a lot of changes with my business and the amount I was working and the way I was working. I started to ask myself, like, how do I want my kids to remember me? Like, when they're 18 and they're or however old, and they're talking to their friends or other people about their childhood, what role, where do I want to be placed in that? And that's when I started to really explore, like, okay, well then what does that mean for me as a mum? What things am I doing? What things am I prioritizing? Am I being present? I did explore a lot of shadow work as well for the first time, just as I was postpartum, which is like
deep.
Two crazy journeys, literally at the exact same time. It's like, no wonder I went into this black hole.
Portal.
Literally.
Oh my God.
Made it out the other side though.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been very like powerful, to be fair.
It was huge. But yeah, exploring that and doing a lot of unconscious work and looking at like, and just like real radical self-responsibility and self-honesty, and putting my ego aside and doing the work of like being really honest with myself of like, how do I want to be remembered? Okay, it's these things. Or how do I want my daughter's childhood to be? Okay, it's these things. And like, where am I not being that? And then being really honest, like presence was a big one for me, you know, especially having an online business for 4+ years. Well, I think it was around like, I don't know how long it was online, but having a business that revolved around my phone for years meant that I was glued to my phone.
Yeah.
So that was a big one of learning, like, I'm not being present. I'm saying I'm a present mum.
Yeah.
Where am I not being present? Am I not being present? When am I? And clocking it without judgment, without shame, I stopped shaming myself. I think that was the biggest thing I learned from shadow work was not shaming myself for all the things I was doing, but like noticing when shame would come up and noticing what I was doing and not letting shame distract me from learning from the thing that was right in front of me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so powerful.
So that was a big one for me of like doing a lot of subconscious work to look at like, where am I not being the person I say I want to be? Oh, I say I want to be confident in my style. Where am I not exploring my style? Where am I throwing on the jumper and leggings every single day?
Yeah, so easy to do as well.
So easy to do. It's so easy to do, and it's great and it's comfy, and like who doesn't want to run around in a hoodie and leggings and Uggs? But then when you have the identity crisis of like, what's my style? Well, are you making the effort and the intention to explore that, to play with that, you know? I think we're very quick to look at other people and be like, they look amazing, or, oh, I wish I could wear that. But are you even playing with that? Are you even taking the time to explore what that looks like? Do you know what I mean? That was a big one for me of like looking at Pinterest and being intentional with scrolling and just like taking the things in my life that I was insecure about and being intentional about changing them, even down to like the really granular things like that.
I think this is as well where it can overplay into any point in your journey, whether it's motherhood or not. This real like intentionality of like who you are building yourself to be, whilst honouring who you already are, and almost taking both parts and mixing them together in this like, got this cauldron image. But I think something I really adore about you as well is this, you know, one minute you're talking about shadow work, next minute you're talking about style, like having both sides to you. And I've really appreciated seeing both sides to you in your content and as you've gone through this evolution. I want to talk about the business evolution, but I want to actually talk about the style thing first, because this is real. I remember after I had Leo, the first thing was your body is completely different. So that was a head fuck to dress, because I was like, you know, I've always been bigger on my legs but smaller on my tummy, and all of a sudden I had a tummy and I was like, I don't know how to dress when you got a tummy, and like just little things like that, like clothes that were a certain shape before just didn't fit my body. But then the thing that surprised me more as well was as my body started to, I won't say return because it doesn't quite return, but as it sort of shifted back to closer to where I'd been before, my style was still different. Like what I wanted to dress myself in, it completely shifted. Why do you think we have that? Do you think it's because our identity has shifted so much?
Yeah, I just think you evolve into like a different version of yourself. And I do think that this maybe doesn't apply to everyone. I think there are some people that literally do feel like the same person they were before. But I think for us, like deeper, over like emotional, like I don't know about you, but I'm just everything is a big thing. Sometimes I talk about things and Shell's like, why is that a big deal? Like, why are you even talking about that?
I honestly wish I was in Jake's head sometimes. Like, things that I will spend days thinking about, he wouldn't even give 5 minutes to.
I know. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what the word is. I don't think deep is the word, but I think, what's the word?
I know what you mean. Like, really.
Like people who feel things.
I think feeling, but also, I think there's an approach where you're just like, what's happened. Or there's an approach where everything is a ritual and a portal and an opportunity for growth and metamorphosis. And I think when you lean towards that, that's when it's like, okay, I can either just go back to normal, or I can really go into who am I? Because I do feel like I get it. Some mums that I'm friends with were just like, yeah, I'm a mum now, but I'm still just me. Whereas I was like, who the fuck am I? I don't know who I am anymore.
100%. And I think like when I think about it that way, wait, what was the question?
style. After all that, we were like, this is a perfect example. We were like, why does our style change? And it's like, well, when we go into the deep question of who I am, like, just completely exemplified it.
Yeah, it's like, wait, we've gone too deep. Just like, get back.
Reverse,
Yeah.
fashion. Okay. But it was like, why do you think that, like, it shifts so much? Like, because I had to go on the same journey you did of like, how the fuck do I want to dress myself?
Yeah. Well, I think like I can only speak from my own journey.
Yeah.
But I think for me, the fashion thing came from doing all the insecurity work within myself. I started to look at like, where is my worth placed outside of myself? Because I think when you become a mum and you're in like those first stages of motherhood and all you're doing is like changing nappies, trying to survive on zero sleep, learning, like you're very present. You're like focused on the thing right now. You're not even focused on what you're going to do tomorrow. You're just focused on the moment. Yeah. And I think when you're used to being someone who's like hyper productive, always focused on the future, always focused on goals, everything's like, what are we doing next week? What's our projections for next month? Like there's so much, you're always working on the future. I think then it can be really triggering when you're so in the present. And I think that's what I had was when I was so present with where I was at, there was parts of me that was like, I remember even having this conversation with my sister-in-law, like maybe 6 weeks postpartum, thinking like, oh, what am I going to do with this for my business? And she was like, why are you even thinking about business right now? And it really woke me up and made me realize how much my worth was based on that and my productivity and like all of that. That then I went on this journey, a deeper journey of that, of course, of, okay, let me look at like, where else have I placed my worth outside of myself? And starting to become, like I was saying, more self-aware of like, okay, the way I look, the way I dress, the way I show up online, the things I talk about online, like where have I placed my worth outside of myself? And that's when I started to realize that like I wanted to take my hair back to its natural color, take my extensions out. And I spoke about this a lot in my content. That like it's not the extensions, it's not the lashes. None of that's the problem. None of that's the problem. And for most people, it's not. For me, it became apparent to me and became really clear to me that like I felt pretty with all of those things. So I started to strip and I stripped back. And that's when like the style thing happened. I went through this like big, deep clean of my life, my wardrobe. And I started to say like, if it doesn't bring me joy, like if I don't feel happy when I'm wearing this, when I'm looking at this, I'm not keeping it. And I guess bit by bit went on that journey of like stripping back each aspect of myself, even like reducing the amount of makeup I was wearing, trying to minimize the stuff in my home, the clutter, and then the wardrobe stuff kind of came with that. It wasn't even like I went on this journey of like, what do I want to wear? It was more just like, well, who am I at my core? If I'm not trying to be like her, who I've put on a pedestal, if I'm not trying to dress like that person, or I'm not trying to because I noticed like a lot of the extensions, the blonde, all of that was like trying to be more like some other people that I thought were pretty or successful. And I realized that when I did the deep work, that it was like, oh, I want to be more like her. So I started to strip back those things. And that's when I really came back to like simplicity and being more minimal and things like that. So I wouldn't even say I went on necessarily the journey of like, what's my style? It was more just, who am I? And how do I dress when I know who I am? And it's so funny because a lot of how I dress and like what came through to me was actually how I dressed when I was like, well, not as crazy because I was pretty out there when I was a teenager. But when I was like 14, 15, I just had the coolest style. I didn't care what anyone thought. I used to get stopped in the street in London for like tourists taking pictures of me. Like I just didn't care. And I just rocked the big shoes. And I don't wear those now. But my style, like with the baggy jeans, a lot of it reminds me of myself at that age before I tried to be like anyone else. Do you know what I mean? You know, when you just like go on that journey as a teenager.
Hard fucking relate. Like hard relate with the self-worth piece. Like I've been so honest about this, and it was so confronting as well. Mine happened a little bit earlier. So I think because my pregnancy was so hard, I went from peak in my business, everything's going fucking amazing, living in this apartment in Miami. I'm like, life cannot get any fucking better.
Yeah.
I'd literally just been to, I'd be like, everything was just like, literally pinch me, is this my life?
Yeah.
And then suddenly I was so sick that I remember I couldn't even wash my hair. Like, I remember Jake would like help me. I had a stool in the shower and Jake would help me wash my hair. I was like bad. And it was that moment of like, okay, all these things I put my self-worth on, appearance, my business was probably the biggest one for me.
Yeah,
like my
me
business
too.
and my business results, it didn't apply anymore. It was more about survival, and being in that survival mode was fucking so freaky to me, but also so confronting. And I think this was something that then did continue on to post having Leo. I was like, if I don't have this business, like, who am I? What am I worth? What am I giving to the world? Like, I honestly had moments of like, I have no purpose. Like, why am I even here?
Yeah.
And it sounds so extreme now to say that, but that was the level to which I thought what I am creating, what I am doing, how my business is performing, the amount of clients I'm helping is directly relational to how worthy I am. And it's funny, since I've worked with clients since, one of the things that I've actually worked with clients on is maybe let go of trying to have an impact. Because I think we get into this story of like, I need to have an impact. I need to create positive change in the world. That's great. That's beautiful. That's fantastic. That's an amazing goal to have. But I think that the flip side, the darker side of that, is that we tie our worthiness as a human to how much impact we're having externally.
Yeah.
And actually we need to come back to, particularly at points in our life where we have been through this huge metamorphosis, I am worthy if I don't put any fucking impact out into the world today.
Yep.
If I literally just stay home and just like go through my day, I am worthy. Because you can look at your child and, you know, like, Leo today is going to play, eat, go for a walk. And I'm not going to go home and be like, you didn't go to work and make impact on the world today.
Yeah.
You are not a worthy human. I'm like, oh my
course.
God, you're perfect. You're everything.
Yeah.
So I really feel you on that self-worth piece. And then the style piece, I'm obsessed with this like life curation element. I think the decluttering, and this was something I wanted to ask you about, because you actually, there was a post that I saw you wrote the other day, which was talking about how actually beating the mother load, as people refer to it, the overwhelm. But I think this again can apply even if you're not a mother, just feeling so overwhelmed, like there's a million and one things to do.
Yeah.
An antidote to that is doing less.
Yeah.
How did you come to this realization?
Yeah. Well, that was a big, you know, when you were asking me earlier about how I've gone on that journey of like that anxiety in the postpartum to then feeling like I've got the hang of motherhood a little bit, which I'm probably going to look back on this and laugh at that, you know, when I'm sitting there with my newborn. But one of the biggest pieces of that was asking myself, is motherhood actually overwhelming? And this might be pretty controversial. Is motherhood actually overwhelming? Like, the actual act of looking after your baby, or is it everything else on top of that? Is it the fact that you feel the pressure to get dressed and get out on time? Is it the pressure that you have 6 classes a week to go to and go to coffee dates and get your hair done and have your business running amazingly and make dinner, and like, is it all the other things? Is it all the other aspects of our life? And I think it was around springtime last year
again.
Where I started to do a spring clean, and I started to do that with all areas of my life, literally all areas, and even down to my makeup bag. I was like, where are we doing I have 3 eyebrow pencils and then going out and buying another one and then complaining that we're overstimulated by being a mom, or do you just need a big declutter? Where is your house full of clutter? Like, I was saying my house is always tidy, it's overwhelming, but I just had too much stuff. Like, there was just stuff. And I think, how often do we actually check, do the things in our home, do the things in our wardrobe, do those things bring us joy? And actually less is so much more. And I just started to really challenge myself with things like the makeup bag. Even to this day, I'm still waiting to use my new bronzer that I've bought because I have not used up the old one.
Yeah.
And being really, what's the word? Like, really
ruthless, really.
Yeah, with actually being like, no, I'm not buying another eyebrow pencil until this one runs out.
Yeah.
I'm not having a stock cupboard full of whatever the product is, even if it's like a cleaning product or hand soap, because let's be honest, we've got Amazon, we've got like, we probably go to the shop most days. We got our weekly food shop, like it's all good. We don't live in a desert for the majority. I mean, there may be people listening in the desert, which would be really cool, but for like me, speaking for me, it's not a big deal if I run out of deodorant and we need to just get it later today. So it was like looking at like the culture of over purchasing things, over needing things, like feeling like I always need things. And again, that goes back to like the worthiness being outside of ourselves. Oh, you know, you just need this new product and then you'll be beautiful. Oh, you just need this in your home and then your home will be the perfect Pinterest home. It's like actually being more intentional with less is more and minimizing the things in my life has just brought me so much peace overall that then that just naturally went into motherhood. So even though motherhood can still be overstimulating a lot, like there are days, like my daughter's at the age where like she knows what she wants and she doesn't want otherwise. And she don't care where we are or what we're doing or who I am. She will tell me. Like the other day we went to the park because we went on a walk and I kept saying to her, park, you know. And then we were on the walk and I was like, oh, could we go home without going to the park? And then I was like, no, I said, we're going to go to the park. So I'm sticking to my word. That's the kind of mom I want to be. So I was like, we're going to the park. But I knew going to the park means she's not going to want to leave the park. So there was that. So even though like there are still moments where I'm like, whoa, like I'm really having to, you know, do my own inner process to like remain calm and respond, not react, etc. Like there are still moments that are wild in motherhood. But that overstimulation and overwhelm can be massively reduced by looking at the other areas of our lives. Because if you think about it, you can't control how the tantrums that Leo might have, or you can't always control the chaos in motherhood or from a child. You can't. And that's not the point. We shouldn't be trying to control that. It's actually looking at like, okay, well, what can I control? Because that's not the only thing you're doing. It's all the other things. So if you're going to your wardrobe in the morning and everything's pouring out and then you're shuffling through your makeup bag and there's just stuff everywhere and then you're rummaging through cupboards and shoving things in cupboards, like that is all energy. You know? So it's like that was what it was for me, is realizing that like, okay, I may not be able to control how full on having a baby is and how much my baby needs me and the lack of time I may have, like on the days that I do have my daughter, I kind of just have nap time and then after bed. But during the time that we're up and we're awake and I'm doing the mummy thing, it's so much easier when my home is just like, just calmer. You know, 100%. And that comes from having less stuff and less clutter. So yeah, I think that's a big one. People are it's very, very easy to project onto motherhood as the issue without looking at like, where is everywhere else in my life very overwhelming?
100%.
Where are you making 3 play dates in a day? And saying to your friend, oh, I'm out in the morning at a class, but then Leo will nap. And then I'll meet you for a coffee and then I'm going to get dinner and make dinner. And then we blame being a mum.
Do you know, I relate to so much of this. I think we get decision fatigue as well. I think when there's too much stuff, you know, if you've got 3 eyebrow pencils, I actually think this is the perfect example. Because literally you think it's a small thing, but that's a decision that you're making. And like, it's literally shown decision making is like a muscle that we have. So if you're constantly having to make decisions, you wear out that muscle. So by the end of the day, that's when we end up in, have you ever been in that state where someone asks you a question, you're like, I can't even answer that right now. Like I have nothing left in me. But like you are using up, like, and what do you want to use those decisions on? Do you want to use it on the freaking eyebrow pencils, or do you want to use it being present with your son or your daughter? So I think that's a huge piece. And like, I have the same thing. Like I need the house clean and tidy because otherwise I think it just fills your brain as well. It's like
Yeah.
hyperstimulation, like you
Yeah.
said, but of everything around you, versus there is real abundance in having less, because you can appreciate
Yes.
what you have.
Yep.
So when you have that one thing but you really appreciate it, that
Yep.
to me is abundance, way more than having 15 million versions of something.
100%.
And I've had to do this in my wardrobe as well, like bringing it back to that element. It's even the other day, I walked past these trainers. They were super cute. They were like white, but they had these like denim love hearts on. I was like, those are quite fun.
Oh, cute.
But already in my head, I'm like, but will I wear them? Like I have this pair of white trainers that I wear every day nearly. And I'm like, do I need another thing that's just going to create more clutter? Like I actually love that simplicity, but I think where I need to work on it, which is when you say this, I'm being completely honest, is the overfilling of the diary. Like I literally had this the other week. I can't remember what I'd been doing in the morning, but I'd had stuff going on, and then I'd made an acupuncture appointment, and I made it ahead of time because I was like, bit of self-care, bit of R&R, I'm going to go for acupuncture. And I just remember on the day, so stressed, like trying to frantically get to this appointment on time. I was resentful I was going to the appointment because I had other shit that needed doing. Got to the appointment, didn't fully enjoy it because I'm like, I don't even really want to be here, but I've left it too late to cancel and I've got shit I need to do. Got back home and was still so frazzled. And it was this massive realization moment for me of like, my antidote to life right now is not to book more self-care. It's not to make more appointments. It's actually to have less. Because this hasn't made me feel less frazzled. It's actually made me feel more frazzled. Like what I need is just like white space as opposed to like doing what used to be self-care.
Exactly. And it defeats the point of the thing. Even like for me going for coffee, that was like my favorite thing to do pre-baby. And even now it's like, instead I'm like investing in like having better coffee at home and investing in like cups I really love and romanticizing it at home more, because actually my life would be so much easier if I just had it at home. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
So not to say that you can't go for coffee or can't go for acupuncture, but exactly what you said. It's like you end up being so frantic that it just defeats the whole point.
Completely. One thing that I really want to ask you about, because we've not got to this yet, is about the business side of things. I knew this would happen. There's so much I want to ask you about, and then I'm like, okay. But I do really
we go off on a tangent, and I'm like, wait, what are we talking about again?
Amazing tangents though. Like I've got a list in my head already of like upgrades I can make from what we've spoken about. So prior to having Baba, you share a name, don't you, Saskia? Yeah. Cool. So prior to having Saskia, you were fucking crushing it in the coaching industry, like really incredible business. And I feel like I've witnessed you go through this transition. How have you navigated that transition? Has that been intentional? Like, what's that look like for you?
Yeah, so that was a big part of like the ego death that I went on. I was so set on this idea that I would be this like business woman, mama person who like wore blazers, and not that I ever wore blazers, but like I had this like laptop lifestyle with my baby on my arm. But actually the reality was, I remember having a moment, many moments actually, and sometimes in tears being like, I just want to be a mum. I remember looking at like other mums in coffee shops and being like, they're just chatting to their friend and they're so like, they just look like they're so chill. And it's a Monday morning. I remember thinking I would never meet my friend on a Monday morning. I have way too much stuff to do, like pre-baby. I'm head down in a sauna with my, on meetings or on client calls. And when I became a mom, I remember just, again, because I didn't expect it to happen, I expected that like 3 months after I go back to work, I remember I started like launching and selling a program like pretty soon, about 6 to 8 weeks after I have my daughter. And I just remember thinking like, looking at my other friends that I had made that were on maternity leave, thinking like, I just want to be on maternity leave right now. And I want to not have to worry or question or think about anything or anyone else, or be invisible, being relevant on social media. Like I just want to like lose my phone for a week and just be a mum. And then after I realized that like that's how I felt, I fought it hard. Like for like over a year. Whose standard of success am I trying to live up to? And it was like partially my own, like what you were saying. And it was also partly societies. Like we all, I don't know, like I think because we've been in that personal development world, I'm so passionate about women being powerful businesswomen. Like I still love that mission. Still about working hard. I'm still about having your own freedom and your own finances. And like I like, it gives me chills. I just believe in that so much. But at that time, that wasn't healthy for me. And I just needed to like step more into more of a feminine, not talking about gender, but energy wise, a more feminine way of life that meant slower, more more focused on the present, less focused on the future, more focused on like where I'm at versus trying to be better and bigger and the next thing, and you know. And it just shows how deeply connected and how deeply I was like holding onto the old identity.
This is all so powerful, and it's been so incredible. I think what I almost want to reflect back to you is I feel like you're the most magnetic you've ever been.
Aww.
And it's so interesting because actually it sounds like it's the most yourself in many ways. Not that you were ever faking it.
Yeah.
And I can say this because I get it from my own perspective as well. When you're in that other phase, you are in that other phase. And that's just who you are and the way things. And actually, if you ask that, I know I can speak for myself. If you ask that version of me, are you living in alignment? I said 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Totally.
It's interesting, like, it's alignment is always a journey, and it feels like the closer you've got to your truth of what makes you happy, actually the ironic thing is the more magnetic you become. And I want to say thank you to you because like, oh, this is gonna make me emotional, but like I feel like you've been that permission slip for me a lot when I've said to you like, I'm not sure I want to do this, and you've been like, that's okay. And like things that have felt like big decisions, you've been like, yeah, it's okay to not want to do that, and it's okay to let go of that identity. And it's funny, I think sometimes you do just need someone to say, again, who you look up to, who you think, oh, well, you know, like they seem genuinely happy in their life. Like, oh, it's okay to not want to do that anymore. It's okay to let go of those parts of yourself.
And I think when you're in that situation, you feel so alone. But then when someone else actually validates, no, that's okay. I just think it allows you to be redirected into a different area. And thank you for saying that about being magnetic. I do feel like a lot of the things I've wanted to manifest are coming true and have come true. More effortlessly without journaling on them every single day and visualizing them every single day. They're just like coming to me because I do feel in alignment.
I have loved this conversation. Thank you so much. I'm having to like cut myself off right now because I'm like, but we'll have you on the wind down. So thank you so much.
Oh my God, thank you so much.